Good day, everyone. My name is David Ellis, and I'm here on ONEXXA podcast. And I'm here with a very long-time friend of mine who I'm very excited to be here with me. Her name is Heather Bain. Heather, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for having me here today. As you said, my name is Heather Bain, and I am a marketing agent, which is an agent that assists people in the second citizenship industry. So people looking for a second passport, another citizenship, then we have a program within the Caribbean, and I am one of the agents that facilitates this.
Yeah, so most of y'all would remember I am from the Caribbean. So I've known Heather for over 20 years. And we've been very fast friends for the first time we met. So, okay, let's get into the meat of this. What is second citizenship and what does it mean to someone in a foreign country like, let's say, Canada or the UK or North America?
Second citizenship is really for people who feel that they need to have another option. Having one citizenship these days can be limiting depending on the country that you're in, or it may be that not necessarily the UK, Canada, or North America. It is more like countries like China, India, African countries that need visas to travel to many places. So having a Caribbean citizenship can be something very useful for high net worth people who have to travel a lot, because then it means that they don't need to apply for visas to go to the Schengen region, to the UK, to China. So for instance, if I'm using my Grenada passport and I want to fly to the UK, then I don't need to apply for a visa. For us, for people who are from the US, Canada, that's not really a big deal. But for people who need to apply for visas, it can be a pain in the neck, or not just a pain in the neck. It's very inconvenient. And sometimes they're denied on the very basis of the citizenship that they do hold.
Yes, the reason why I thought about North America is that we just came out of winter.
Or you're still coming out, because some people are still getting snow.
We got snow, this week. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, I have second citizenship, so I can actually just go where I want to, where it's warm. Why am I here? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what benefits does second citizenship offer apart from obviously the ability to travel to specific areas?
Okay, so for people who are Canadians and Americans and British people, you'd think, okay, yeah, they have powerful passports, but why would they want a Caribbean passport? For one, just like you said, there are a lot more people who, like snowbirds, they have homes in the Caribbean. They have, whether it's South Florida or those areas that are warmer, as you know, they travel down in the winter months to get away from it. So, the Caribbean is a very popular place for this. And if they do hold a citizenship from one of these Caribbean islands, specifically your country, St. Lucia, Grenada, my country, St. Kitts, Antigua or Dominica, then it allows them to be able to actually own property in the country, have their homes, and come down as they want to. So that will be one of the reasons why those people would want to come down.
Yeah, Heather, whenever we talk about anything to do with traveling to different countries, the first thing that pops into people's minds is the paperwork. The paperwork.
Yeah.
The paperwork.
Real.
What is involved in a second citizenship application?
Yes, I have to be honest, the paperwork is a little bit extensive, but the reason for this is because these countries need to make sure that the people that are coming into the program, that they are getting the privilege of holding the citizenship, are in fact, people that we want to have our citizenship. So it's for the legitimate business owner or the legitimate family. And so the paperwork involves having your, showing, copies of your passport, police records, medicals, that kind of stuff that, and most importantly, looking into your source of funds. Where's the money coming from that's going to fund the investment? And so there are quite a number of forms, a lot of supporting documents that will go towards that. to be able to make sure that everybody that's applying, they're compliant with the regulations. As you would appreciate, being a St. Lucian,
Mhm.
holding a St. Lucian passport, you'd like to know that anybody who's going to also hold your citizenship is going to uphold the integrity of the citizenship.
Yes, I understand that. And in this age where people are doing a lot of money laundering, you obviously want to avoid that. So, what kind of checks are involved for someone who's applying for a second citizenship apart from the usual police records and so on?
Right. So in the beginning, when they engage with me, I'll ask very basic questions to just make sure we do have to pre-screen them to make sure that they are in fact eligible just to apply.
Mhm.
And at the moment, we are accepting most nationalities. However, there is for now a suspension, a hold on Russian applicants.
Mhm.
If there are people from Iran, then there are lots of, they have to be living outside of Iran for over 10 years. Money cannot be coming from there. So there's certain nationalities that I do have to screen, but most other nationalities are okay. The other thing is too that people who are applying for this, they cannot have been denied a visa from a country where the citizenship that they're applying for has visa-free access. So, for instance, if somebody, because we have visa-free entry to the UK, if somebody is applying, let's say they're Chinese and they applied for a visa for the UK before and they were denied, then they'll only be allowed to apply for the Caribbean citizenship if they can now successfully get a visa for that country.
Okay. What kind of costs are involved in a second citizenship? I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to be watching this and thinking, oh, is that a beach behind the two of them? Yeah, I want that. So, what kind of costs are involved in that?
Yes, and on the beach they could also have a house, which would be very nice too.
This also-
But so the cost between like among the five islands, we have more or less regulated the prices to keep it fairly similar. So I would say that a family of up to four,
Mhm.
and that by family of up to four, I mean the main applicant, the spouse, and two children, two dependent children under 30, can acquire the citizenship for, I would say the investment level is around 235,000 US dollars.
Mhm.
And then there'll be the application fees, there'll be the due diligence fees, there'll be the processing fees. So you're probably looking, and you can't quote me because it depends specifically on their ages and their little factors that come in. But I would say you probably have to budget about $280,000 to be able to acquire this for a family of up to four. And that's under the first option where you're paying directly into the government fund.
Mhm. So, in terms of case studies, you probably have done a number of these applications before. You've been in this for a little bit. So, what do your clients say to you, like after they finish the process and the teeth pulling and all that?
Thank God. No, they're really excited. They're very excited to have a second citizenship. I
Mhm.
think, I've had a few clients when we officially give them the passport, there's a letter that actually welcomes them to Grenada.
Mhm.
And for some of the clients who never actually had a place that they called home, to feel welcomed by our countries it's a huge feeling, a sense of belongingness, somewhere that now it's their home. And so it's elation for some, it's relief for others.
Mhm.
It is excitement. It's just another opportunity.
Okay, you mentioned a little bit about investments. What kind of investments do these people typically make in these islands?
Right. That's a good question. So it's really more or less two ways that they can acquire the citizenship. One, as I mentioned before, would be the donation or contribution to the government fund.
Mhm.
And that fund between the different islands is used, whether it's to, support capital expenditure projects on the island, or just try to, raise our standards among all sorts of different areas that, Antigua, for instance, can use their funds to help build the UE or continue the UE University. St. Kitts will use it for house, like some of the money goes into public housing. So different
Mhm.
islands will decide how they want to use it. The second option involves approved real estate. So some clients find it hard to just put money directly into the government and then choose to actually want to have ownership in something. And so this is where the real estate option becomes significant for them. So it means that they can invest in a hotel, like get a share in a hotel project. And
Mhm.
I mean approved. So the government has to say, yes, this is a project that you can invest in. Or in, let's say, St. Kitts, they have an option if somebody wants to buy a private home, then they have to spend a certain amount of money to be
Mhm.
able to be then considered that, okay, yes, you can get citizenship with that level of investment. Not all the islands do it the same way, which is why it's really good to meet with an agent like myself
Mhm.
who has inside knowledge of how all of this works so I can advise the clients or the family what is best suited to them. So you're looking at about, if you're doing the real estate option, that price point will start probably around, for Grenada, it starts at the $270,000 level, plus
Mhm.
the government contribution, plus the fees. St. Kitts starts at like 400,000. So again, it's just different islands have different requirements.
I'm actually very happy that we got into this because when you're doing the second citizenship, you're actually investing into the place that you're most likely going to live, and you're upgrading the place. And that is absolutely a win win situation, both for the country and also for the person who's coming in as well.
Yes, and that is a very big thing because, sometimes you could look at citizenship and think, oh, well, maybe you're selling out the country and but it's the amount of money that really does come
Mhm.
in allows islands like ours
Mhm.
to be able to have money to do things that better the lives for our citizens. And as I travel through the islands, I do really see the benefits of it. And as you said, the people who are investing it are actually directly responsible for helping us grow and do better. So it is really a win-win.
Yeah. One of the benefits that people get from making moves like this in the life is getting to experience different cultures.
Mhm.
It cannot be understated. If you are in one particular culture and let's say you think you travel and so on, when you travel to different countries and you spend a week there, you're not actually learning the culture. What you're learning is tourism.
Is the tourist side of it, yes. And for some that's okay, but for others, I see people wanting to come and dig down and really feel what is it like to live as a Grenadian person does. And what's coming down here, it's not that everybody wants to come and live here, right?
Mhm.
I think it's having that option that they can. The way that the world is changing now, you can
Yes.
see what happens, where there are wars and people want to know that, okay, I'm not necessarily stuck because of the as accident of birth. And so they have that option to go somewhere else, or they can be regarded as a different type of citizen because sometimes having a particular citizenship is not very appealing to the rest of the world.
Yeah. And I think on that note, people are going to be wondering about the tax situation with regard to the different islands.
Yes. And so luckily
Mhm.
and smartly, these islands do not tax on worldwide income. So that's a pretty big relief because again, most of the people really investing in these are high net worths, right? And so they want to make sure that all of their income from outside is not taxed, and it's not only income earned within the country of citizenship itself that they acquire. So let's say Grenada, if they decide to set up a business here and they're earning money here, that's what Grenada government will tax them on.
Excellent. That makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
And that's actually a win for most people who are entrepreneurs who have businesses in metropolitan countries or
Yeah.
other countries. So, I suppose the next question that I would have to ask is how did you get into this, Heather?
Huh. How did I get into this? So I am a dual citizen. I was born in Canada and my parents were Grenadians. And so I acquired citizenship for Grenada, well, the
Mm-hmm.
freeway. And so um, we moved down here when I was in my teens.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that I really came to really love the Caribbean culture. I love the island life. And having when I went away to study, and I just knew I want to come back here
Mm-hmm.
and see what I can do to help the country grow and do better, and or not just do better, but improve and everything. So I got involved in the tourism industry. I then got into the hotel development side, and then CBI, as we call it, became a thing because it was the government's way of trying to also help build the island. So the hotels that were coming in, it was kind of giving them a sort of incentive to come and build your hotels down in the Caribbean, so that, and then we're helping you through this program to get money to continue to build the hotels. So I think from the tourism aspect, that's how I got involved in it. And I honestly came into it really not knowing exactly what this was going to be, because it's an evolution. And you like, I learn and grow with it every single day. It's interesting to me. I think the reason I'm in it is because I love being able to help. I love to help families have options. I love to get to see the different cultures because I meet people from all over the world, which is just fascinating. And then
Yes.
I also love that I'm also helping our islands develop. So to me, it's just a win-win, and it's how I got into it.
Yeah. And tell us about ATB Global Mobility. Like, how did this come into fruition? You mentioned CBI. This is Citizen by Investment. Citizen.
Citizenship by investment,
Uh-huh.
yes. And so ATB Global Mobility is an authorized marketing agent for the program,
Mm-hmm.
and agents need to go through a very stringent due diligence process because the governments need to make sure that they have reputable, honorable people who are working with clients globally to be able to offer the citizenships. So I went through it by applying and being fortunate to be granted this privilege to offer this program. And so I've been operating since about on my own, like in my own company, since about 2019. Previously, I was working with another agent and decided, well, why work with another agent when I can do this myself? As a Grenadian Canadian, I should be able to do it myself.
Okay, and that obviously worked out really well for you. Okay, so if I am a someone who with the high net worth who wants to come to Grenada, right, and I want to invest in Grenada, where do I start? I contact you obviously, and what is the first thing you're going to probably, what is this process going to be like? Do I do a consultation first? How does that work?
So you just reach out to me, and usually it's a lot easier to just have a call. Most of us deal with each other, whether it's through Zoom or WhatsApp. So it really doesn't matter where you are in the world now. It's very easy to communicate. And it's just kind of like a getting to know you process where,
Hmm.
I'll ask a few questions just to make sure that they are in fact eligible, right? They meet the basic criteria, which, like I said to you, it was, your nationality. You have to make sure that criminal, you can't have like a criminal record, like I have to say a serious criminal record, right? We'll get into that more one-on-one when I'm discussing it with the client. Um, and then that they actually have the funds to pay for this and where the funds are coming from. Those are the sort of questions that I'm going to ask them just in the beginning. And then, sometimes clients do a lot of work on their own. They're usually pretty familiar when they're going to invest in second citizenship because it is a big investment. So they tend to kind of know which island they may want to invest in. But I still will consult with them just to see why they're choosing which island. And if I think that there might be another option that they hadn't considered, then I will share it with them and let them make their decisions.
I already know the answer to this question, but I'm sure the audience doesn't know the answer to this question. Give us a rundown on the perks and drawbacks of the island. Grenada is the Isle of Spice, for those of you who don't know, and they take that very seriously.
The perks of the island, I think it's just the lifestyle that we have. It is we have quality of life and we have time. I feel like when you come down here, because it's a smaller community, people know each other, people care about you. There's something that is just very familiar, and
Yes.
and the sense of belonging. I think a lot of people like to feel that they belong somewhere. And I do believe not just Grenada, I think that the other Caribbean islands do that for you. And, I can, when I finish work, I can leave in the evening, go down to the beach, take a walk. I can do something with the evening, not be sitting in traffic trying to get home and then getting home at 8 o'clock at night. It's just our quality of life is so important for the people that come down here. So the perks are really that I feel like we have time. You also have different communities of people within the islands. So yes, predominantly you will find that people are mostly of African descent, but you also find Indian descent. You also find a lot of expats. So people have moved here from Italy, from Germany, from France, the UK. There's a huge, there's diversity in the islands. So people are just very warm and embracing. I think those are the perks. And,
I'm going to throw in a few perks. If you look at the background behind Heather and I, you'll notice that there's a beach that's rolling in and out. Yeah, it's always there, and you could see the bottom. That's number one, right?
yes,
Let's not forget the diversity in nature that you find. Like we have volcanoes, we got like coral reefs. We
yeah,
have those kinds of things where
mhm,
a lot of people who live in landlocked masses or areas in the world where the nature stays the same or probably just gets hotter and hotter. That's the day of
right,
the season. And,
mhm.
there's something to be said. I think that a lot of the meteorologists in these islands, they don't make a lot of money in terms of predictions because we know what the weather is going to be like
It's warm or
tomorrow.
warmer. But it's true. And like you said, like you can, if you like scuba diving, they're beautiful,
Yes.
amazing scuba reefs and wrecks, and it depends on your level of certification. You can go explore it all. Then if you like hiking, the hiking trails bring you to fantastic sights and waterfalls. And if you like the beach is there. I feel like there's just something for everyone. If you like rain, it will rain a little bit during the rainy season. So
Yeah. Not for very long.
no,
Not for very long. I think a lot of people who are considering this option in their lives, they've obviously reached a stage where they can obviously pay for it and so on. There may be other programs in other places in the world. I think what makes the Caribbean stand out is the ease of life. Like Heather said, that there is a quality of life here. We take the whole "it takes a village to raise a child" very,
yeah.
very seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing I didn't mention too, which is really probably the first thing I should have mentioned, was the safety. These islands are safe. I can't tell you how many times I come home. I
Mhm.
don't worry about who might be hiding around. I sometimes forget to lock my door. You're safe. And in this world that we live in now, I think safety should rank at the top of your list for your lifestyle choices.
Yes, and we forgot something very, very important: the food. The food. Look,
The
I,
food is fresh.
I'm gonna
We grow our food.
the food is from the ground. A lot of it is from volcanic soil, depending on where you are. and the food is extremely diverse. And you will, as she said, because we have diverse cultures there, and each one of these cultures adapted the food to a Caribbean style.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
think you've tasted everything, you probably haven't. I'm just going to say that.
And it's actually interesting that you say that because our food is very fresh. So you can catch fish today and go cook it tonight. And we grow our own ingredients. We grow our spices, like you said, Isla spice. And so you're cooking with really fresh ingredients, and it allows people who are very creative to just do some amazing, really tasty dishes. And the islands are influenced by different backgrounds depending on the history. So you'll find like the Northern Islands have more of a French influence, so there'll be more Creole cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Islands have a little more Indian influence, so you'll find some more curries and like it's across the islands. It's also quite diverse. And the other day, this might be segueing a bit, but the other day I went up the islands. We went sailing to a little island just off of Karaku, one of the sister islands. And I mean, the island was a very tiny island. All it had on it was a little shack. And there was a lady that was cooking. They just caught some snapper. She
Mm-hmm.
just went on her coal pot and she cooked the snapper. Let me tell you something. That was the best fish that I have had in my life because it was like butter. It just melted and it was just done so simply. But the idea of just sitting on this little island
Mm.
and the beach is washing up on you, just like our background picture here, and the cool breeze and the fresh fish. I mean, what more could you want in life?
I think one of the things that people tend to seek migration for is an improvement in their sense of well-being and their health.
Mhm.
Now, I can tell you that I have clients. I am in North America, and I have clients who experience stress-related symptoms that go on vacation to the Caribbean, and they come back and it's like, yeah, I'm staying. I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back specifically because a lot of their conditions have cleared up because of obviously the decrease in stress, the fact
But
that there's a lot of fresh air and sunlight.
yes, that is so true. And in your profession too, like just being
Mhm.
around the water, the effect that having this water around you does to your mood. People suffering from depression or the seasonal depression that y'all get up there. You
Yes,
just you
I know
just
it
go,
well.
yeah, you sit on the beach and you just like you take in the air, the salt air. The seawater has so many healing properties for
Mhm.
people. Like it your lifestyle, like you said, it's the stress is just reduced. And we have a lot of things here too, just again with different groups of people around that they offer very simple relaxation practices, yoga,
Right.
meditations. They have Reiki. They have so many different things. So, you can still go, you could run on the beach, you can go to the gym. So it's conducive to a healthy lifestyle.
Okay. So if there's anyone who's considering it or on the fence about it, what would you like them to know in terms of the process and the reasons why they should actually just take this step?
Um, I think the reason it's worth a conversation. So if they're on the fence and they're not really sure, I
Hmm.
would suggest that if they had the time to just reach out to me and we can just have a discussion. And it's a big decision, like I said before. And so sometimes it just helps talking it through again, the benefits of having it. But I think if you actually do have the money, that it's not even just second citizenship that people are going for now. It's actually multi-citizenship. Sometimes just having two passports isn't even enough now.
Hmm.
So I think this is almost like the bare requirement to have two citizenships. So if they're on the fence, just reach out. We can have a conversation and see where it goes from there.
Excellent. Heather, please let these people know how to get in touch with you.
It's very simple. In today's age, you can just reach out by WhatsApp It's plus 473-415-8600, or it's by email, which is info@atbgm.com. They can check out my website, www.atbgm.com, or I'm on socials as well, and you'll see more content. I do love to boast of the islands, so you'll see a lot of content on the islands.
Excellent. Guys, please go hit this woman up. I've known her for years. She's one of the most competent people I have ever met in my life. So I want to thank you, first of all, for coming out, Heather, because especially on short notice, right? I want to thank you for coming out. And guys, if you guys are considering second citizenship, go to Heather. She is the best person to go to for this kind of thing. So even if you wanted us to have a discussion like, I'm dreaming about beaches, hit her up on her Instagram and so on, and we'll get you on your way to a stress reduced lifestyle. Okay, Heather, thank you. And for those of you who are here, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, everybody. This is Amy Kruzik. I am a certified hypnotherapist from the International Association of Counselors in Therapy and the Professional Board of Hypnotherapy here in Canada. I am here to announce the opening of our new Unified Health Systems online store, where you will find professional courses and done-for-you products at reasonable prices in the market. Check them out at shop.unifiedhealthsystems.com. Bye, everybody. See you there.